Okay, let's get started. It is 1:43 a.m. on August 18th, 2026. Can't be helped. It's really late. We received lots of evidence to add to our mountains of evidence, and it is really smoking guns. And when when and we were talking about this, when all of the smoke, clears up, the ones holding the smoking guns are Justin Underwood and Bernadette Medrano. And so let's get started today to talk about this at 2 a.m. almost. Well, it's 1:44 a.m. in the morning. Um, because this is so important. I can't wait till tomorrow. We've got to do this every night. We've got to do it every night. Get out the truth. So, um, so today is 2,206 days since Richard, our son, the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier Richard Halliday, was forcibly removed from his barracks room because he was a whistleblower. He was submitting reports on the Walmart mass shooting, orchestration, um, and of course, child sexual exploitation, the trafficking, the fuel trafficking. Um, he was the whistleblower, and his reports were being blocked. He requested for a transfer that was denied. A code red was issued, and they took his life. They forcibly removed him from his barracks room, took him downstairs to the arms room in the basement, a secured room that, the prime suspect, though, would have access to. That would be Dallas Hart. He would have access to the arms room in the basement, a soundproof room, and that's where they took Richard's life. And they then stole his body after they desecrated it, stole his body off of Fort Bliss to hide the evidence, and they trafficked it to uh, uh, Chihuahua, Mexico, right over the border. You've heard of Juarez. Juarez is the city, Ciudad Juarez in Chihuahua, Mexico. And that is now the El Chapo Sinaloa cartel fentanyl governor Maru Campos, who is being investigated by the Mexican government, federal government, for treason. For treason. So don't say that President Trump isn't doing anything, because he's absolutely, none of this would be happening without his leadership, and because justice is hard fought for. You have to fight for it. So here we are, and with all of this evidence, and all of the new um, uh, uh, things that are happening behind the scenes, um, the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, millions of papers with videos and evidence, all kinds of evidence has been released now, all of it unredacted to our Congress, you know, and so that's going to be interesting. Uh, the talk about Pam Bondi and her amazing maneuvering that she did with the Epstein files, um, it was really a trap, right? This is what we're hearing, that it was a trap to drip, drip, drip some of these files out there to see, well, all of the searches in Congress were being monitored, where they were, what they were looking for, and everything when it first came out. Now it's been totally out. So, and of course, we have a new attorney general, and this is going to get really interesting. Hold on to your seats. Um, and so, of course, with the midterms coming and the big win in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in Texas, that these absentee ballots, these mail in ballots, need to have identification attached to them, proof of identification attached to them. That is a really big deal. The person that was fighting that didn't want you to have to show proof of identification to vote in our country, which is a huge privilege and a responsibility, was Lisa Weiss from El Paso County. She leads the election there, and there is, it's not a big surprise, right? That birds of a feather flock together. Corruption, corruption, corruption. And we know that the Fosters and the Hunts, Woody Hunt, and of course, um, William Sanders all manipulate El Paso, and they are just up to no good, up to no good. And so, that's all coming out. When you have our son's case and the Walmart mass shooting case and um, everything at the border when it comes to the fuel thieves, these massive fuel thieves that fund the trafficking, all the other crime that goes along with it, including all the child sexual exploitation and all the trafficking, be it weapons and ammunition and drugs and um, all of that, even the stolen cars now, even the organ harvesting and even the baby harvesting, and you go on and on. Their level of crime is gets very satanic, gets very satanic. So um yeah, you would expect that the there would be election tampering, and we know the evidence confirms there's election tampering. And so who's at the head of that? That's Lisa Weiss, and Lisa Weiss would wanted to continue having a platform that would be ripe for election tampering, and that is mail-in ballots without any identification needed. But she lost that one. She lost that one, and Texas won. The people of Texas have won. So that's really very, very good news. Thank you, Sophie, for coming on so late. God will deal with all the wicked evildoers. Yes. And, we are in communion with God. We are in communion with God. He has given us a great commission. And that the purpose of man um, is really to fight for justice, right? To put on earth as it is in heaven, to bring God's justice to the world, because God's justice is perfect, right? And it's what brings us liberty. Because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And the Spirit of the Lord is justice, righteousness, right? Justice and righteousness are synonymous, they're exchangeable. And our duty is absolutely to glorify God and enjoy Him forever, as the Westminster Catechism states in the first answer to the first question, what is the chief end of man? and in order to glorify God and enjoy Him forever, you establish justice. This is our purpose in life, is to establish justice so we can glorify God, and and then that gives us liberty, right? It gives us liberty, and we just have been without that for so long that I think we've forgotten it. We've forgotten what it takes um, to have this free life and this responsibility to fight for justice. So here we are every night fighting for justice. And we are getting so much help right now. Um, and so that's really amazing news, a very hopeful news. Times have changed, and the FOIAs are pouring in. What are the FOIAs? That is the evidence. The evidence is pouring in. We can look now what was going on, the paper trail, the receipts, whatever you want to call it. Um, the receipts, the paper trail is coming in, and it does not look good at all for Justin Underwood. His scheming, his Mormon mafia, his obstruction of justice, his impersonation of the state of Texas, his attacks, targeting and attacks on whistleblowers, his tampering with justice, trying to thwart justice, trying to sabotage justice, that has ended. He's not successful. He has not been successful. This is good news. And but the evidence of all of his scheming, all of his tampering, all of his obstruction, all of his targeting, his colluding to remove and attack a duly elected district attorney, right? Not the fake ones that we have with Mr. 2028 stamp Montoya, who changed his name just to get the Mexican vote, um, and not Bill Hicks, who was the attorney for Purchase Group of Purchase Funeral Homes that participated. Well, they are this funeral fraudsters that um, uh, have a history of this sacrilege, of messing with, um, peddling with human bodies. Is just it's so it just takes you back. It just takes you back and takes your breath away. The evil of these people, right? And that's what we know of. Can you imagine what we don't know? What's still in the secret? Because these people are up to no good. They're just, um, they want to establish hell on earth, you see. They want to establish slavery, right, with all their taxes, and we see that with what El Paso Community Foundation, El Paso Matters, Bob Moore is defending right now. Um, the mayor of El Paso raising, like, property taxes aren't high enough in El Paso. They have to raise it more, and not just more, just this is legalized theft. This is what the whole property tax raise and all of that. Because they really have not given the El Pasoans what they promise, right? They are extortioners, they're exploiters, really, they are aiding and abetting terroristic organizations. That is what this leadership, so called leadership in El Paso, is doing. Um, so, and that's all coming out, hard evidence everywhere, and this fake promises to get the vote, and then they come in, they promise that they won't raise the taxes, and then they do raise the taxes, and it's just disgusting. It really is. And then El Paso Community Foundation, who is accused of money laundering, right? The parent company of El Paso Matters, which hired Bob Moore, the disgrace and a disgust, um, are is going to bat for the mayor. So, wow. Wow. Oh, wow. But I think the people get it. And so I hope that they go and establish justice, right? Follow the law, follow the law, and wield your power, because we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Wield your power, file, and yeah, if someone out there is really smart, knows how to fight this the legal way with all the people, I think you'd have most of the people behind you supporting you. So let me know. Let me know. So we have to stick together, um, and not let these thieves, these exploiters, these extortioners, um, uh, you know, establish their evil deeds. So that's why, God just says, put on your full armor of God. He doesn't say, lay on this bed on flowery beds of ease and float up to heaven or something. No, he says, put on the full armor of God and establish justice and fight, and, charge to those gates of hells. You're not supposed to cower in fear. You're supposed to charge it, and, and um and you do it legally. You do it legally, because the spirit of God is our double-edged sword, right? It is the word of God is our double-edged sword. So the whole law system, and that's why they always, these evil people are always attacking the law of God, right? They're always attacking the word of God, the law. Oh, the law is done, blah, blah, blah. No, no, that's your worst enemy. Thou shalt not kill is your worst enemy. Thou shalt not steal is your worst enemy. And, they just try to, you know, um, compromise all of us, so that we don't want um, to establish what would bring us liberty from these evil people. But we have to just, there's something called repentance, there's something called grace and mercy, and the full armor of God, um, and marching towards the fearlessness, because of being forgiven. There's a real power in that. There's a power in the name of Jesus. That's what it means, because uh, we don't have to cower in our guilt or our fear or whatever. We can absolutely do what God has called us to do, and fight for justice. So, yeah, that's that. I didn't mean to put on a little Bible study, but that is exactly how we feel in our family. Um, and these 6 years, what has kept us going every day, and has brought us lots of victories. And everything is going our way right now, and there's real hope and real chance. 80%, I would put it at 80%, when I put all the charts and all the evidence together, that we have that kind of chance of getting our son home and honored. So that is those are good odds. Those are very good odds, and um, and that was hard fought for. So we have 20% more to go, right? About 20% more to go. So hard fought for. And now with this new evidence that came out about the Walmart mass shooting, which is very important to our son's case because they are totally intertwined. And this, gosh, it's just the tip of the iceberg. But what has come out, uh, it just blows you away. Justin Underwood is so criminal. He is so criminal, impersonating the state of Texas, illegally coming into the Walmart case. What? To target whistleblowers, to control the evidence, to tamper with the evidence, um, to uh, it, to get to work with Bernadette Medrano, the wife of the judge in the case, right? To issue uh, illegal subpoenas because he didn't even have the legal right to even issue subpoenas. And she's, putting the seal of the district clerk on there to uh, to sign off on them, to really manipulate um, justice in that whole case. This is why Patrick Crucius didn't get the death penalty. Do I believe that there's multiple shooters and there's shooters at large? Yes. Do I believe that Patrick Crucius was part of this whole terrible Walmart mass shooting? Yes. Absolutely. The evidence is overwhelming. But was it orchestrated? Yes. Explain the Mayellas. All you have to do is ask somebody, explain the Mayellas, and they'll say, yep, it was orchestrated. And then you just look at all the other evidence. Um, this was absolutely a crime scene that was covered up by Justin Underwood. By Justin Underwood. That's why you got a plea deal. That's why they didn't go to trial. That's why we didn't get to hear the evidence. And while he was doing that, he was tampering and obstructing justice and targeting whistleblowers in our son's case, keeping it hidden, keeping the truth from coming out. And we have the receipts now. We have more than receipts. We've got more puzzle pieces for the bigger picture. And I think it's been maybe 2 years, I've been saying we have enough. We have enough. And God says, nope, your cup is not running over yet. Your cup has to run over with all this evidence. You're going to be so victorious, you will not contain it. There's not a container that will fit all the evidence that I am giving you. And that's what's happened in this last week. And it just, going through and reading through all of these documents, um, just like the Congress it's going to take time, even with AI reviewing and helping out with the searches and everything. Um, it is going to take time to go through, what is it, 6 million pages or whatever. I know it's a lot. It's a lot of evidence when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein, of course, is all connected to El Paso, through Zorro Ranch to New Mexico to White Sands to El Paso to the cartel operatives, the whole fuel theft and money laundering and all the trafficking and all the evil deeds that they did to children and women and um, the gun running, everything. You know, it's yeah, it's all connected. And so that's why that's important. And just so you know, Justin Underwood is absolutely allied with Beto O'Rourke. His wife worked for Beto O'Rourke, worked on Beto O'Rourke's campaign. Danae Katzen worked on Beto O'Rourke's campaign. Justin Underwood and Danae Katzen, who targeted us, who targeted our son's case to manipulate it, to, like I said, they tamper. Um, absolutely worked with Justin Underwood. Danae Katzen and Justin Underwood worked together to tamper with the cases because her husband, Jonathan Ambrose, absolutely involved in both of these cases. Um, and that's all coming out. Uh, so the evidence is just piling up. And you know, can you believe it? Bernadette Medrano, the one that controls the wheel, that controls judges and attorneys in the courthouse their whole career depends on the assignments that come from the assignment wheel. And she controlled that, and that gave Judge Medrano, the most corrupt judge in El Paso history, power, right? So much power that he thought, okay, I'm going to even though the judicial um, uh, is not allowed to create police forces. I don't care. I got the power, and I'm going to create a police force in this courthouse so I can control the cases. I can control the cases. I can control the investigations. I can control the witnesses and the whistleblowers, the judges, the attorneys. I'll know. I'll be all knowing. I'll be all knowing. They'll be my spies, my Snoopies, you know. Um, and so that's what he did, and it was illegal because a judicial branch in our government is not allowed to create um, police forces. That is an executive branch power. And so, they just got really arrogant. They got really arrogant and they thought they could just orchestrate a Walmart mass shooting um, to tamper with the election, to help Beto O'Rourke out, to target President Trump with uh, a fake white supremacist narrative. And of course, they got SPLC, the Southern Poverty uh, um, Law Center. I think that's what. Uh, remember Heidi Bayrish, to, oh yeah, that manifesto, that was white supremacy. And she didn't even know about Patrick Crucius. She didn't know about his Mayella family, or she did know, she didn't care. She didn't, but she told the press she didn't have him on record at all. She didn't even look, but within a day she's putting out, that, oh yes, this is not a con job at all. This is absolutely white supremacy. And it takes 5 minutes to go and look at his school record to know that he is uh, severely mentally uh he has a severe mental condition. That's how David Guadarrama, the judge in the federal court, put it. And of course, he didn't pass even kindergarten. He couldn't tie his shoes. He couldn't even talk until he was 6. He couldn't Patrick Crucius has severe mental health conditions. And they didn't even do a mental health examination on him, assessment on him. So, and then, but Heidi doesn't care. She wants to help out. They want to attack President Trump. That's what they were trying to do, keep him from re-election. They were tampering with the election. And our son was the whistleblower, and they, blocked him and targeted him. And when he wanted to leave, they denied any transfer, and then they issued a code red to silence him forever. That's and this is part of the Mormon Mafia. This is part of cartel terroristic organizations because it's El Paso, y'all. It's El Paso. It's the epicenter to, this is why Jeffrey Epstein bought 7,500 acres and leased another 2,500 acres for a whopping 10,000 acres on the North Collip of White Sands Missile Range with his buddy. And, his buddy bought another big ranch, William Sanders, who's the father in law of Beto O'Rourke. And, Beto O'Rourke is living right next to the owners of the Plenitude Crematorium, where all evidence indicates that our son was taken to in Chihuahua, Mexico for disposal. This is not a coincidence upon a coincidence upon a coincidence. And the owner of that Plenitude Crematorium not only, runs City Magazine, okay, but also Argo Oil and Gas, yeah, restaurants and stuff like that, but also shares office space with El Paso Community Foundation's El Paso Matters, Bob Moore, who targeted our son before his life was taken, and then conducted a smear campaign to cover up the Code Red murder, and his whistleblowing. So I hope that I know this can get confusing sometimes, but this is a network. It is a cartel network. It is a Mormon Mafia alliance with the cartel network. These are fuel thieves, not just any kind of fuel thieves, mega fuel thieves. I mean, we're talking about huge operations, and of course, funding cartels, be it CJNG, be it Juarez Cartel, La Linea is part of Juarez Cartel at the Nova Casa Grandes, where the Mormon colonies are. Um, and yeah, be it that. Um, it just makes you speechless to think of all the connections. So I just want to thank everyone for coming on late, and thank heaven for these FOIAs being answered, the information being shared, so that, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, y'all. And this is just the beginning, because all of this stuff has been filed, and they might reopen the Walmart mass shooting case. They might reopen it. That's how damning what smoking gun information this is. When any legal person looks at it, most likely they'll open up the Walmart mass shooting case again. And that's a good thing, because the Walmart mass shooting case is intertwined with our son's case. And it's much different now than when the case was originally going on, because now the cartels are designated terroristic organizations. So the penalty, the consequences for their cover up, their aiding and abetting is much higher. Much higher. Bernadette Medrano and Justin Underwood, things don't look good for them. Okay? Neither does it look good for Bob Moore. But really, the the paper trails, um, yeah, that is Justin Underwood and Bernadette Medrano. How evil these people are. They're just so evil. Okay, thank you so much. Um, it is 2:19, so I did that pretty quick tonight. And sorry it's so late or early in the morning, but it just couldn't be helped. We were just trying to make sense out of this jaw-dropping evidence that that we have. And so I hope that helps. Please share, share, share. If you have time, please sign the petition for honors for Richard, that the military can look at his record. It's sparkling, y'all. It's sparkling, and it's just so heroic now with President Trump's letters, um, for like a Purple Heart, to honor him with yeah, like that. There's other awards, but like that, like a Purple Heart. And so if you have a chance to sign that petition for that, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please share that information too. Um, it's going to require a lot of signatures, but we're a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and and we've just gotten so much support from everyone that we know it's going to happen. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing.